Welcome to footballgameplan.com. This is the 2019 preview for the San Francisco 49ers alongside Emery Hunt. I'm Tyler Merkovich, and it seemed like a odd marriage in San Fran when Mike Martz is the offensive coordinator and Mike Singletary took over as interim head coach. Mike Martz is out, Singletary retained. First round they draft Michael Crabtree, a playmaker.
Well, that offense is going to be vastly improved now since Mike Martz is gone. When you look at what he's done with the St. Louis Rams, everyone expected him to do that with the Detroit Lions and then expected him to do that with the San Francisco 49ers, but it didn't duplicate itself as it did in St. Louis. But Singletary is more of a ball control guy. That's why he was really hard on Vernon Davis early in the season to get his act together, because you need a tight end if you plan to run a ball control offense.
Absolutely. Frank Gore, their key piece on offense. You know, they're probably going to change their philosophy, try to run the ball, play defense instead of throw the ball more. And they got Joe Staley in the offensive line. Is that offensive line going to hold up for Frank Gore this season?
That's one thing that they improved. They went out and signed Marvell Smith from the Pittsburgh Steelers to shore up that right tackle spot, move Staley to left tackle. So the bookend tackles are going to be okay. The running back situation is going to be awesome. With Frank Gore, you know you're going to always have a 1,500-yard back, potentially. If they can get the passing game going, he can easily get 1,800 yards. Now, with the quarterback situation, that's where they have an issue, because you have the guy that they drafted, number 1, Alex Smith, whom I like. I think he's an awesome quarterback. He just needs some consistency in the organization to help him get on the right track. And now that they rebuilt that offensive line, it should help him stay upright more and not get sacked. Also, if they decide to go with Shaun Hill, he's going to do well too, because he actually is probably the reason why Singletary got the head coaching job. So they have two quarterbacks, and in this league you have to protect those guys. So unless if you don't protect the quarterback, anybody you have back there is going to struggle. So, and plus they both got those new weapons outside to throw to. The Crabtree is the number 1 pick out of Texas Tech, explosive guy. I really love his game. He reminds me of a young Michael Irvin with his tenacity and his ability to go up and catch the ball with his hands and make plays down the field.
Amazing specimen, Vernon Davis, who's been in the doghouse most of his career. Is he going to make an impact?
I would hope so. They took him real high in the draft that year, expecting him to be that Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez type impact player, but it hasn't panned out just yet. But he started to come along late last year after he got into that doghouse and became one of Singletary's most favorite players. So with the tight end situation squared away and the wide receiver situation, which is stable with Crabtree, the future Hall of Famer Isaac Bruce, Josh Morgan last year, Arnaz Battle. They got a lot of guys that can make catches. They just need someone to make sure they complete the passes to those guys downfield.
And on the defensive side of the ball, where Singletary likes to leave his mark, one player to talk about that stands out on this defense, Patrick Willis out of Ole Miss, linebacker. They also got Manny Lawson and the veteran Takeo Spikes. Is this their strength on defense?
The linebacking core of the San Francisco 49ers is a definite strength on that team, as well as in that division. When you have Patrick Willis on your team that makes all kind of tackles from sideline to sideline, he can run with receivers, run with tight ends, cover running backs, and sack the quarterback. He's a complete defensive football player. Then you have Manny Lawson, who coming in was expected to be a pass rusher, but he's been stout against the run. And this year he's added some bulk, so he's going to be even more stout against the run. He's healthy for the first time, so he's going to play a full season. Then you bring in Takeo Spikes. They drafted a guy out of Pitt,
Scott McKillop,
thumper in the middle. So he's going to learn from Takeo Spikes. Is going to groom him to be the eventual starter in that position. Then you have Paris Harrelson, 8 sacks last year. That guy can really come off the end. He's going to have double-digit sacks this year, I guess. I bet. And so I know that linebacker is definitely a strength, if not one of the best in the NFC.
Not a typical name you'll hear Harrelson, but he gets production done. Can the defensive line hold up? Justice Smith's come over from Cincinnati a couple of years ago. Can he learn that D end and that 3-4?
That's the thing. Justice Smith was their best defensive lineman. He played all over the field last year, so he's a playmaker. I like Justin Smith. Problem is they drafted Kentwan Balmer last year out of UNC and expected him to be that big force on that defensive line playing that 5 technique. It didn't work out. He barely touched the field. So hopefully he improved. If he improves, so does the defensive line. That's a weakness on the team. They need to get some more production out of the defensive line.
Secondary, they signed Nate Clements to a huge deal a couple years ago. against those great receivers in the NFC West.
Mhm.
Cushman-Zada's there now, Fitzgerald, Bolden, Donnie Avery, a couple young guys in St. Louis. Can it hold up?
I think it can hold up. But it all depends on the defensive line. You can have Dion, Rod Woodson, Eric Allen back there. If you can't get pressure on the quarterback, they're going to get burned. But I do like Nate Clements. He makes a lot of plays, and a lot of people look at the contract and expect to see 75 interceptions, but that's not his game. He's always around the ball. He makes good tackles. He's a lot of pass defense deflection, so he's awesome. Also, they lost Walt Harris, which was their starter last year, but they signed Dre Bly. So that's going to be an upgrade, more of the same. And plus, they really like Terrell Brown, second guy out of Texas, and he's going to come in and play a lot as well too. So they're straight at corner, safety. They have Michael Lewis back there at strong. He can lay the lumber on the tight ends and running backs. And they're bringing in Deshaun Golston, who they drafted last year in 2007. They're really high on this guy, so they expect him to take over. He actually took Mark Roman's spot in the secondary last year, so they expect more big playmaking plays out that safety position last year.
10th ranked defense in the league last year. This is where their bread and butter is. Special teams.
Special teams, they got the guy himself, Allen Rossum, who can do kickoff and punt return. I like his game. Joe Netney is an awesome kicker, wins a lot of games for him. So the special teams is solid. And their kickoff units are also solid, too. You don't run back kicks on San Francisco.
Joe Nedney, solid field goal kicker. Now, NFC West seems like an open division for a while. How does Mike Singletary fare this year?
The odds are in his favor to do well. Problem is, they have to get more consistency out their quarterback position. That's the only reason why I can't put them in first place. They're going to be in every game. Now, it all depends on that quarterback situation. If they can get that squared away, they can challenge Arizona for that division because they beat Arizona at least once. They split with Arizona last year. They can win the division, but until that quarterback situation gets cleared up, I see them finishing second in the NFC West.
23rd ranked offense, if they could get it going. Emery thinks they could be a pretty solid team. And for footballgameplan.com, for more breakdowns on NFL teams,